All right, cool. Yeah, it's been. God, I wish I'd had more time to play though.
Yeah, same.
Boy, the screenshots you sent looked really cool. I mean, that game looks amazing.
Yeah, it really is incredible. It's funny. I tweeted this, but like my Twitter feed since Friday has just been either screenshots of Zelda or screenshots of Horizon Zero Dawn. That's it.
Yeah, there would have been a lot more from me too if I had just gotten around to hooking up my Twitter account to the Switch earlier, because it didn't come. I didn't get my Switch until Friday night, pretty late. I mean, it wasn't late. It was like 6:15, but I went home early and it wasn't there, which was kind of irritating. The games were, of course, the games were there, right?
Sure, of course.
The games in the carrying case, but the Switch itself was coming from Best Buy, and that took a little longer.
Yeah, it sounded like. I mean, there was a lot of problems. I think Mike had one of his pre-orders cancelled. A friend of mine had one of his didn't turn up till Saturday. Although Prime Now did have some on Friday, I could have had one.
Really? Yeah,
I did hover for a little bit.
it was very late in the game when I finally got a tracking number. I think it was Thursday night, maybe, or late afternoon. It was well into the day on Thursday before I had a tracking number. And then by the time I went to bed, my Switch was in Kentucky, and, and it made it by the next day. But it had, it still had to like fly to Chicago. Then I had to get on. They had to put it on a truck, and then had to drive around the suburbs. So I was a little nervous that it wasn't going to make it by Friday.
Yeah, so you got your Switch from Best Buy and the games from Amazon, is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So what did you get? Obviously, you got Zelda.
So I got Zelda, 1-2 Switch, Super Bomberman. Those are the three that I got as cartridges. I guess they're chips more than cartridges, and they're really tiny. They're smaller, I think, than they're about the same size as an SD card, maybe a little bit different dimensions. And then I picked up Shovel Knight and Snipper Clipper on the eShop.
Cool.
Yeah, they're all. I haven't. Let's see. What have I not played? I haven't played Super Bomberman yet,
Right.
but I've tried everything else.
Yeah, I obviously we've spoken about this probably for the last like month or so, but I didn't pre-order one, and I was like, no, I'll wait. And then the Zelda reviews came out. By the time the Zelda reviews came out, I'd already ordered Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah,
And I
and
was
you got
looking
the
at it,
the
oh my god, I want to play that.
yeah, you got the fancy expensive version too, right?
Yeah, I went for the Ultimate Collector's Edition, which comes with a statue and a steelbook and a little art book and stuff like that.
Yep, yep. No, that looks amazing. Yeah, I'll tell you that Zelda game. It's already probably my favorite game ever.
It's funny because I'm thinking the same about Horizon Zero Dawn.
It's pretty amazing, and I haven't even played. I barely scratched the surface. I mean, I really didn't play that much on Friday night. It was mostly kind of getting everything set up and connected to the Wi-Fi and updated, and I played a little bit, but I was pretty tired Friday night, so it was mostly a setup night, and then I spent more time on Saturday morning playing.
Yeah, so have you been playing in portable mode or on the TV or like what? Did you get a Pro controller as well?
I did. I got a Pro controller. What else did I get? I ended up doing a same-day delivery of a Zelda amiibo because Federico told me that if you use a Zelda amiibo, you can get a wolf. You get a Zelda wolf to follow you around, which is pretty cool. So I picked that up. I've been playing a combination of portable and on TV, probably a little more on the TV. One thing that's really cool about the Switch, I think, is that it's the first system that I felt comfortable putting in just like the main living room area because it's small. It's not a giant gaudy piece of plastic like the original Xbox, for instance.
Yeah.
It's not loud. It doesn't make any noise really. So it's tiny. Just it's maybe the size of a hardback book at most, not even that big. And you drop the thing, you drop the Switch into it, and it immediately switches over to the TV setup and works perfectly. And then if somebody wants to watch television, you just yank it out and go play somewhere else, which is really nice.
Yeah, I mean that seems obviously it's nice that it's portable, but I feel like that's the biggest advantage of the fact that it does have the portable aspect to it, because like you say, you can keep it in your main living room on what is presumably your nicest TV is in your
Right.
your main living room. So you can play it there, but like you say, if somebody comes along and they want to watch TV or do something else, you can just grab it and go and sit wherever you want.
Right, and I haven't seen that in as many of the reviews. I mean, it is one of those things where, if you live with other people who want to watch television instead of play video games, it's a big advantage to be able to just walk away with it. I mean, now, Sony did similar things with being able to play remotely, but that doesn't work quite as well. That's a little more fiddly.
Yeah, and I don't think you can really. I think if you get the PlayStation TV, you can remotely play on another TV, but I haven't really investigated that. Obviously, you've got the Vita remote
Right.
play, but it's a pretty tiny screen, and the buttons don't always map very well to it.
Right.
Because obviously you've got extra buttons on the PS4 controller.
Yeah, so I've tried the Joy-Con separately in the little like holder, I guess it is, to make it like one big game controller. I've tried that, and I've tried the Pro controller, and I really like the Pro controller. It's great for Zelda.
So how does the the thing that you slot the Joy-Cons into, the little holder, to make that a controller, how is that compared to, say, I don't know, a PS4 controller or an Xbox controller or something like that? Is it all right, or am I going to want to buy a Pro controller?
I think you'll want a Pro controller. I mean, it's okay. It's fine. You get used to it pretty quickly. It's not bad, and you could get by with it for sure. But because the hardware of the two little Joy-Cons is pretty good. It seems pretty solid and good quality. But it's just a little weird to hold, just because of the way it is, and it's all kind of Frankenstein together with these slots and everything. I just felt like the Pro controller was a little more comfortable in my hands overall.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, it was kind of a baited question. I'm obviously going to buy the Pro controller if I get one. I mean, the prices have already dropped on those. Like, Amazon are selling it for like £60 now rather than 75.
Oh.
So hopefully, given a few more months, at least some of the accessories will drop in price, so I can order one.
Yeah, that's part of the thing, is that you look at it and it's like, oh, the price, this isn't too bad. But then once you get done buying games and accessories and stuff, you've spent at least as much as you have on a PS4.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that's always the difference, or has been the last few consoles within Nintendo. Like, the console you get, as the base thing is fine, but you really are going to want accessories. Whereas if you buy a PS4 or an Xbox One, like, you get the controller and you just need to buy a game.
Right. The one accessory I have that I haven't tried yet. Well, I haven't tried the amiibo yet either, because I haven't gotten very far into Zelda, and I figured I'd wait a little bit. But I got that charging holder.
Right.
So that'll be nice, because the thing does run down batteries pretty fast, at least in portable mode. I haven't used it as much as I said. And I've been doing some experiments. I've got some experiments to do later today, because I've been trying to find. Well, I bought an Anker portable charger last week with two things in mind. One was the Switch, and the other is my MacBook. Because I'm going to Italy later in the month, and I wanted to have. I don't think I'm going to bring my MacBook, but I might bring the Switch along. And I wanted something pretty robust that would charge. And I know from talking to Mike that he has an older Anker, and I don't think it would charge. It wouldn't charge the Switch while he was playing, but I think if it was in sleep mode, it would charge it super slowly.
Right.
But this monster one that I got, it's the biggest one that Anker sells. It's very heavy and it's large, but it will charge while I'm playing. So I only tried it for like 20 minutes. I played 10 minutes of Zelda without it, and then I played 10 minutes with it back connected to the battery, and it seemed to charge up about as fast as it drained when I was playing without it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I guess, that's fine, I guess, as long as you can kind of get some extra time out of the portable mode.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that there's a lot of misinformation and misunderstanding about exactly what you need to do to charge the Switch, because it's power hungry. So there are a lot of plugs you can get and things like that. Whether it's just a USB hub or it's a battery or whatever, there are a lot that won't work with it.
Yeah, it's Nintendo aren't very good at kind of revealing this information and just kind of being straight out like, this will work, this won't work.
Yeah, right.
So as you say, it's going to take a couple of weeks for, the likes of you and Mike and everyone else to kind of test this stuff out and kind of come to a conclusion as to what will and won't work.
Yeah, because it really is a matter of how much juice it can put out. Because did you see the stories that if you hook up a Switch to a MacBook, it actually charges the MacBook?
Yeah, I did see that.
So I'm not really sure how that works. I assume that's because it's putting out more juice on its end of the USB cable than the MacBook puts out when it's needs providing power to accessories. But that's kind of odd.
Yeah, it's kind of strange, but it sounds like everyone is enjoying their Switches, which is great. As I say, like half my feed was just people posting pictures of Zelda.
Yeah, I've got a lot more time to spend with it before I really have a full feel for it. But I tried the 1-2 switch, the Cowboys drawing their guns game just briefly. It's cool. It's a lot of fun. It works really well. It's definitely kind of the Wii Sports of the system. It's it's kind of, they're basically party games.
Yeah, it seems quite expensive for.
Oh, sure does.
What? It's like a full price game, right? It's like
I think it's
$60 or something.
$50 or $60. It's a lot.
Yeah, I think that's one I won't be picking up. I'll probably leave that one.
All the games are pretty expensive. Snipper Clipper is a good game. That one I think is $25 maybe. It's a kind of a co-op puzzle game.
Okay.
It's very hard to explain, but it's you each play as a little paper person that walks around, and you can cut out shapes from each other by overlapping your characters and pressing one of the buttons. And you do that, and then you rotate your body and fit into little try to create shapes between the two of you.
Okay.
And then there's all kinds of other stuff going on, like later levels, like pressing buttons, and they're just it's basically a puzzle game that requires cooperation between two people.
Nice.
And then Shovel Knight has all the DLC that's ever been released for that game in it. And it looks,
that's my understanding of it. It's like a huge bundle of everything, plus kind of made for the Switch.
Yeah, which is pretty good for $20, and it looks great on the Switch. I that one I've only played in portable mode, but it was a lot of fun. I've never really gotten into Shovel Knight, although we own it on I think every possible system imaginable at this point. I think.
Yeah, it's definitely, having seen the Zelda reviews and hearing from you and other people on Twitter. I was going to hold out till maybe Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's going to happen, given that I was hovering on the buy button on Prime Now on Friday.
Yeah. I couldn't believe
I don't think I'm going to
them.
last until like June or anything.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that they had them on Prime, like launch day.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they had many, because I kind of checked, maybe 3 hours later and it was gone. But I did have a couple of people tweet me in other areas of the UK, and Prime Now had them in their area as well. I don't know. I guess Amazon got more stock, because the day before I could have ordered one for next day as well. So I guess maybe their allocation was bigger than they initially thought.
Maybe, and they're definitely. It seems like Amazon's doing a better job with Nintendo in the UK than the US, because other than the initial pre-order moment, there was nothing here that I've seen. I mean, they sold out immediately, and then I don't think they ever had them again.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to forget that like the UK is the size of one state, whereas obviously Amazon US is serving a lot more people.
This is true, and I had this exact same discussion with Mike earlier in the week when I said, "Aren't you nervous that you don't have your tracking number?" And he said, "You got to remember, this is not a very big country."
Yeah, I mean, I've had tracking numbers at like 3-4 o'clock in the morning, and it arrives by 9 o'clock.
Right,
literally like 4 or 5 hours.
Right, because I think this was Wednesday, and he still didn't have his tracking number, and he told me though usually he doesn't even get them until the day before, and for me that's Wednesday was already super late in the game.
Yeah, it's a lot quicker for. I mean, I've had stuff where I've ordered really late at night, 10, 11 o'clock at night, and it's come the next day. Obviously, just because we're in a much smaller country.
Right. Well, I was a little nervous just because I don't really use Best Buy. I don't think I've ever ordered anything from them that was delivered to my house, and so I didn't really know how reliable they are. Amazon, for instance, the games I ordered were already sitting less than 100 miles away in Wisconsin by the time they shipped. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, it's a pretty amazing system. I've been impressed by it. I mean, I guess there are some minor frame rate issues here and there in Zelda when you put it on a TV, things like that. I mean, it's still, it's a Nintendo system. It's not it's not cutting edge technology. But one thing that when I started up Zelda, even though I'd seen some of the gameplay videos, I was really kind of blown away by just how vast the world is and how beautiful the artwork is.
Yeah, it really is just looks incredible. And I'm kind of impressed in some ways. Like, obviously Nintendo are known for making really good games, but just wasn't sure if they were really going to be able to pull off this like huge open world that they have.
Yeah, it's amazing that it's interesting because you can kind of make of it what you want, because you can just kind of play in a laid back mode, exploring things and staying away from the enemies, or you can try to do all the missions, essentially finding the shrines and all that, and just plow your way through the game. But I think you're rewarded a little more for exploring because you find more items that help you do things later in the game.
Sure. Yeah, it's the parallels between Zelda and Horizon Zero Dawn are very similar. It's this huge, massive open world. I tweeted a picture yesterday. I've been playing for like 10 or 11 hours, and I've only unlocked this kind of tiny portion of the map. And as you say, there's monsters and enemies everywhere. But you can avoid those if you want. You can just kind of wander around, and you should be fine. But yeah, as I say, like 10 hours, and I've just got this tiny portion of the map unlocked. So I don't know how long this game's going to take me to finish.
Yeah, I saw your tweet with a picture of the map, and it looked pretty huge, even though that was just the very first part you had unlocked, right?
Yeah, I mean, as I say, it was 10 hours in. I've done a lot of exploring, like rather than just doing the quests that it gives you.
Right.
I think at that point I'd only done like 2 main story quests. I'd done some like side missions and just gone hunting down the various machines that are in the game. But yeah, it really is a fun game to play.
So what's the premise of it? I've heard it described as like Skyrim with robots, which seems a little odd and not quite right either based on some of the other stuff I've seen. I mean, what really is this game all about?
Yeah, so it's you pay the main character is called Aloy, and she is a hunter warrior type person who's been training all her life and all this kind of stuff, and it's like post apocalyptic. So there's been an apocalypse, and then they've gone past that, and now like machines roam the earth, and everyone's kind of reverted back to they just live in tribes and kind of rudimentary houses and stuff like that. But you can kind of go into the ruins of like the old world. So obviously the old world is our world with buildings and technology and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
And she finds a little, it looks like a Bluetooth headset, and that allows her to kind of see where the robots are and what they're going to do, and allow her to kind of fight them better than anyone else can.
That's cool. And the graphics in this game are just phenomenal from what I've seen looking at videos.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've probably spent as much time in the photo mode, just taking screenshots, as I have actually playing the game.
Yeah.
Like, every time you kind of turn a corner or get to the top of a mountain or something, you just see something else, and it just looks incredible.
Yeah, it really is gorgeous. I was so disappointed that was coming out last week because I had my finger on that buy button just like you had it on the Switch, and I was gonna do it, and I thought I'm not gonna do this because I don't really even have enough time to fully play the Switch this weekend, let alone dive into a game as big as Horizon.
Yeah, definitely. I remember watching I was actually reminded of the original reveal trailer from E3 2015. A guy at work, Louis, said to me, "Oh, yeah, you must have seen the trailer." And like, I had kind of forgotten about the game because these trailers come out like 2 years ago or something like that, year and a half. And then the reviews had come out, and I looked at the reviews, and I was like, yeah, do you know what? I'm probably going to order it. And then I thought, no, I'll wait because I've just bought Lego Dimensions and I've got loads of other games to play. And then Louis, this developer I work with, he'd bought it, and I watched him streaming it for like 20 minutes, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to buy this now.
Now, is there an online component, or is it just single player? I mean, what's that like?
No, single player. There's no online. There's nothing. It's glorious.
No, that's good. I prefer that myself. So that's definitely a game I have to play.
Yeah, there's no online component to it at all. It is just the single player game.
Oh, that's cool. I have fiddled around a little bit with the Nintendo Switch's online stuff. There's all you've probably seen the uproar about how they're still using friend codes and that sort of thing. It's not quite as bad. I mean, yes, it's bad that the friends, there's a 12-digit friend code that is impossible to remember and impossible to share practically. But if you have played Super Mario Run or Miitomo on iOS, for instance, those people will be pre-populated in your list as suggestions. So all you have to do is select them and press A, and you've sent a friend request to those people. So that's pretty easy. So I very quickly connected with 5 or 6 people that way. Right.
Okay. So there's at least something there to help you get started.
Yeah, it's better. I mean, sure, it would be better if if you could load it up through your Twitter username or Facebook or anything that's existing and secure. That would be better. Or if their own system was a little less, I don't know, archaic, I guess.
Yeah.
But I've yet to send my friend code to anybody or tap it into anything, and I've got 7 or 8 people who I've connected with, so it hasn't been that bad.
Yeah, I mean, we could sit here and knock Nintendo for, all the things that they got wrong at launch, online and friends code and stuff like that. But I mean, that's not what Nintendo are good at.
Right.
Nintendo are good at making really fun, great games, and that really is all that's important for the Switch, I think.
Right. Well, and maybe someone will tell me I'm wrong, but I went looking for the online, the new, like the beta online service that they're going to do, and I don't think it's there yet. Or if it's there, it was hidden and I couldn't find it. And I don't think I have any games where that would even be a thing at this point. I mean, maybe you could somehow play some of the 1-2 Switch games online. Maybe I haven't looked at all of them yet, but
yeah.
But it's definitely not a thing with Zelda or Shovel Knight or any of those kind of games.
No, I imagine they're going to get that launched before Mario Kart 8.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say, is that I think is supposed to come at the end of April. So my guess is they'll roll out the service sometime mid to late April, and then the game will come out.
Yeah, and then Mario Kart will come out and the servers will crash because so many people will have bought it.
Yeah, I've got like standing orders with Amazon for basically everything not everything that's been announced, but too many games already.
Oh yeah, I mean there is it's not a huge catalog, but I think there's enough there really to build up right before the holiday season.
Right.
I mean I think by the holiday season I was looking, and you're probably looking at like 10 or 12 games that are like, full blown games that you buy with a cartridge. That's not including, all the digital games and stuff that you can get.
Yeah, there was a Nintendo, what do they call them again? Nintendo Live or
Direct.
Direct, right. There was a Nintendo Direct, I think it was last Tuesday, that shows a lot of the digital games that are coming, a lot of the indie games that are coming. Oh my gosh, they probably highlighted 20.
Yeah, I think I saw a screenshot of all the logos just on a slide. But yeah, there's loads coming. So I don't think we're going to be short of games to play on it.
Yeah, no, they did that on Tuesday, and then they immediately released trailers for all of them. So there's a ton on YouTube. If you go to the Nintendo channel, there's a ton of announcements there. And what they've said is that they're going to have new games every week. So, they're not all going to be AAA titles like Super Mario Kart, but from what I could tell, there were a lot of new games, a lot of exclusives, a lot of timed exclusives, and then just some ports of some classic and fun games that people already enjoy.
Yeah, so it does look like it's turning out to be a pretty good lineup. It will be interesting to see what it's like around Christmas to try and get one. Because I mean, for the first probably 2 or 3 years of the Wii, like it was near impossible to just walk in a shop and pick one up.
I know,
and I do wonder if the Switch is going to end up like that.
I hope not. I mean, I find that I kind of get the marketing buzz part of that, but when at the end of the day, you want people to buy your stuff. And I remember when the Wii came out, I would have gotten one earlier if I could have just walked to a Target or walked into a Target and bought one, but it was too much of a project to get one.
Yeah, I remember I think my parents bought me one. I think it was maybe the second Christmas that the Wii had been out.
Yeah.
And my mum had made a reservation at a store, or she was on the wait list. And they basically they phoned her up and they said, "We've got one reserved for you. You've got 45 minutes to come and pick it up, or we're giving it to somebody else."
Oh, wow.
It was that bad. And as you say, like, if I can't just buy one of these on Amazon and get it like next day or whatever, I'm gonna be annoyed like when it gets to it. But I think it'll be all right. But we'll see probably nearer the time.
Yeah, there are a few rough edges here and there. It clearly was something that they pushed out the door. They could have probably let it bake for another 6 months or a few months at least. But the core experience is fine, and I think the rest of what needs to be worked on is something that can be dealt with in updates and along the way. I mean, there was a system update right away that I think was in part to deal with that that whole controversy about how the Joy-Cons weren't working particularly well.
Sure, yeah, I saw that.
I have not had any problems. I mean, there was a chart, I think it was in Polygon, that showed they tested it at different ranges and holding it different ways. And basically to really have a problem, you had to cup it in both of your hands, cover where the antennas were with your second hand. And it's just not the way I don't think people would typically hold and use. It reminded me a lot of the iPhone 4 antenna gate. The whole you're holding it wrong meme.
Yeah.
Because it clearly was like if you grip it very hard in both hands and play that way, it might and you stand like across the room, you might have a problem. But if you're sitting in front of your TV on the couch and you're using it the way it's intended to be used, I haven't had any problems with it yet.
Yeah, you go stand in a Faraday cage and it's broken.
Right. Right, exactly. The one thing
sorry, go on.
I'm going to say the one thing that's a little flimsy is that kickstand is a little flimsy. I can see why like Apple's never done a kickstand on anything. I mean, it's a little, I haven't used it in kickstand mode, but it's a little flimsy-ish piece of plastic. And I had the hardest time figuring out where to put the micro SD card. Turns out it's underneath the kickstand.
I mean, that's a shame because, like, I get what you're saying. Like, kickstands aren't necessarily great, but the one on the Surface tablet thing is really good.
Yeah.
So it can be done well.
Yep. No, it's not great. Then again, I don't know that I'm going to use it very much, so I don't really care that much. I think the dock is maybe a little tiny flimsy, but it doesn't really serve much of a purpose other than, it's really well designed in the sense that there's no way to do it wrong. You can't put the switch in backwards. If you put it in the right way, it just settles down right onto the USB-C connector and passes through the video and audio to the TV. So that worked extremely well too.
No, it's good to hear. It sounds like it's a pretty solid console, and for all the problems for me, like I'm buying it just because I want to play the games. I don't care too much about online. I'm probably not so bothered about battery life and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm excited to get one. I mean, as I say, I couldn't really justify it when I just bought Horizon Zero Dawn as well.
Right. No, it is well designed in that sense, and it's kind of idiot proof, I guess. I mean, it's not hard to set up. I mean, you don't really need an instruction manual to figure it out.
No, that's good. Anything else on the Switch?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. So assume you're gonna play some more Horizon Zero Dawn today.
Yeah, I played a few hours this morning before we started recording, and yeah, I have every intention of playing some more this afternoon.
Oh, that's good. I'm gonna do some more battery tests. For the good of the order and the good of the people, because I'm getting questions from a certain Italian who wants to know.
Of course. Of course. So you were in Taco Bell yesterday?
Oh, I was. And I came so close to having a chalupa, Rob.
And you didn't?
I didn't. I couldn't do it. You know what? Even with the good product photography that they try to do for all these items at Taco Bell, it looked disgusting, and I just couldn't do it. I couldn't bring it myself to have a chalupa.
You've failed the podcast and the listeners, John.
I did. You know what? I should have just done it anyway, because what I got was probably equally disgusting. It was some sort of, I don't know what possessed me, but it was some sort of wrap. It was basically 2 tacos that had been put into a soft tortilla and then pressed together into like a wrap.
That sounds very strange.
Yeah, it had that kind of weird, cheese whizzy cheese sauce, as opposed to really
God, no.
poured on it. I polluted myself with that instead.
Yeah. Oh God. It's actually talking of that American like sauce cheese stuff. When I was in London last weekend or the week before, I did have Shake Shack.
Oh yeah,
and it was really, really good. They did what they called cheesy fries, but it was the cheese sauce, so I avoided that.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. I've had those. I don't know. I don't mind regular cheese on fries, but I'm not a cheese sauce person.
No, it kind of looked a little bit radioactive. It's kind of quite bright. It doesn't seem like a natural color.
No, it never actually hardens either. If you've ever worked in a restaurant, it's basically comes in giant drums, like gallon size metal tins that you can maybe the consistency of like cream cheese or something, like whipped cream.
Oh God. Yeah,
it's like a spread kind of, but then they heat it up and it gets more liquidy.
Yeah, that does not sound good.
No, so yeah, I forgot that you were in. We recorded the last show early because you were in London to see the Harry Potter show. How was the whole trip and the show and everything?
Yeah, the trip was really good. Like the hotel that we'd picked, which was basically just what's the cheapest but quite close hotel, and it turned out to be like a 5-minute walk from the theater, which is great. The play was really, really good, like just amazingly well done. But 5 hours of theater is a lot in one day.
Yeah, I know. I told someone that here that you were going to that, and it sounded really cool. But then when I heard it was 5 hours, my jaw dropped.
Yeah, so you get it's 2.5 hours the first part, and then 2.5 hours again. A few hours later. But of course, you have to be in there, or you have to be at the theater like 45 minutes before, and then the same on the second half, so you're kind of really sat there for like 3 hours in the same seat, and theater seats are never good,
right?
Especially not old theaters in London. They're particularly uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. So you basically had 2 3-hour stints in the theater, and then a couple of hours in between to just stretch your legs and get something to eat, that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's a 3-hour gap from the end of the first half to the start of the second half, but obviously because you have to be there an hour before or 45 minutes before, it's kind of like a 2-hour gap. So we went back to the hotel, sat there for like 20 minutes, or lay down on the bed for 20 minutes because it was a bit more comfortable than
right.
sitting in the theater. And then yeah, we wandered around. There was a Shake Shack quite close to us, and it was really good.
Yeah, was that your first time there?
Yeah, I'd never had one before because they don't have them where I am.
Right.
There's quite a few in London. There's probably 4 or 5 in London. I also had it the next day as well, on the Sunday.
Nice. Yeah, I've had it before too, but I've probably had it as much as you have. I've only been to Shake Shack a couple of times.
Yeah, there's a lot of different burger places in London. There's kind of a different burger place on every corner.
Wow.
But yeah, Shake Shack was amazing. As I say, I went back the second day as well.
Yeah, we there are Shake Shacks in Chicago, but there aren't as many as it sounds like in London. There are maybe two or three, and none of them are really close to where I am most of the time. So I've gone, but it's been a while. I should definitely get back though.
Yeah. So then on the Sunday, we didn't really have anything to do. We didn't have a specific train booked back or anything. We could just get whatever. So we just went for a walk around London, just to have a look at some stuff. I mean, because London's like right there, and we kind of never really go and look at stuff. So we wandered down to the Thames and had a look at Big Ben and the Houses of Parliament and stuff like that. And then by the time we'd walked all that, we were like, let's just go home now. I've had enough.
Yeah, that's a lot of walking. So you did kind of the touristy thing as opposed to just like going to the Lego store and things like that.
Yeah, well, we walked past the Lego store in the morning because we wanted to go through Leicester Square for, I can't even remember why now. But because it was a Sunday and the UK has stupid Sunday trading laws, it doesn't open till 11 o'clock.
Right.
And there was probably a queue. This was about 10:45. There was a queue of probably about 150 people outside.
Oh my gosh.
I think you probably remember when I said when I went to that Lego store when it opened, there was this huge queue. I mean, this queue was bigger than that.
Yeah, I remember.
And when I went the first time, it was like launch weekend. So we did not go in the Lego store this time because I was not prepared to wait in that queue again.
Yeah, that sounds pretty bad. Wow. Huh. Well, I guess it's still popular. Good for Lego, right?
Yeah, as I say, it's a combination of Lego being popular and stupid UK Sunday laws.
Yeah. No, everybody's ready to go and do some shopping, and they got to wait another hour or two.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, it was good, and I think we're probably going to go up in the summer and either see Aladdin or Matilda.
Oh, okay. Do you think you'd see Harry Potter again?
Oh, not anytime soon.
Yeah.
I don't think I could it was amazing, but I just don't think I could handle doing both parts in one day again.
Yeah, it's a full day. It's a full day project, basically, right?
Yeah, I mean, we were up at like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, onto the train, pretty much went to the hotel and then straight to the theatre. So we pretty much didn't stop until like 10 o'clock at night.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a long day.
Yeah, so when we go up in the summer, we're going to pick, something that just comes in one part and it's only a couple of hours. So yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Well, very nice. Well, I think that's all we have this week, unless you had anything else you want to talk about.
No, that was pretty much it for this week. It was, let's be honest, we've both just Zelda and Horizon Zero Dawn for both of us.
Exactly. That's been filling all my time. Although I did see Doctor Strange last night. I meant to mention that, but I do not highly recommend it. It was okay. It wasn't great.
It was weird.
Yeah,
I watched it last week. I mean, if you've kind of invested yourself in the Marvel Universe and want to see all the stories, but it's certainly not one of the best ones.
Let's just say I'm glad I didn't bother to go out and see it in the theater and waited until I could rent it on iTunes, on a Saturday night.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I guess that's it for this week. You can find me at macstories.net for my writing and at John Voorhees on Twitter.
Cool. And I'm on Twitter at RMLewisUK, and show notes will be at ruminatepodcast.com/40.
Okay, great. Good to talk to you, Rob.